While driving home in rush hour traffic on a Friday afternoon on a Colorado winter day, I was lost in thought, thinking about my week, the upcoming weekend, and Christmas, which was just a few weeks away. Christmas is my favorite holiday. I love the Christmas lights on the homes and homemade cookies and having my family together. My thoughts were interrupted when my phone rang. It was my daughter. It was quite common for us to talk while I was driving home. Her usual greeting was, "Hi, Mama." But on this day, something felt different. I pulled off the highway. The words that she could barely utter are forever branded into my memory. She said, "I do not know how to tell you this, but Connor is dead." You see, Connor is my son. I screamed at the top of my lungs, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. My breath was taken away, and I yelled at God and I asked, how? How could this happen? How could I survive the loss of a second child? This took me to my nightmare 27 years earlier when I suffered the loss of my firstborn. Parents' worst nightmare is to have a child die before them. It is not the natural order of things. I could not believe it was happening a second time. Once the initial shock wore off, maybe a few weeks later, months, I don't actually remember, I came to terms that I survived the loss of one child and I would do it again. With the loss of my first child, I looked everywhere for help and resources and could not find them. I felt like I walked this journey alone. I scrambled and clawed my way to my new norm by creating and using my own methods along the way. In between the loss of my children, I experienced other family losses, other family deaths. And what I discovered is that the things I designed to help me from my first loss helped me with the others that followed. Putting it all together, I knew I could use these to survive losing my second child. In the moment of grief, it is easy not to understand the whys. Why did they pass so young? Why did it have to be cancer? Why, oh, why in that canyon of grief? I could not answer the question, but I can answer them now. God has been preparing to face yet another loss by equipping me with multiple tools and resources. God is not responsible for my losses. However, He has given me the strength and courage to overcome the heartache. I can say I have been able to move through my grief. It has not always been pain-free or easy. It takes time. The ratio of sadness to joy is no longer 100% sadness and no joy. Now it is closer to 5% sadness and 95% joy. I enjoy spending time with my family without feeling guilty. I love my two children here on earth, grandson and other family members, and also remember to love my children in heaven. My life is as normal as it can be. We celebrate birthdays, even those who passed. I've learned to embrace the holidays as they have taken on a new look and new meaning. I find peace that those who have gone before me are looking down on me, encouraging me to be happy. I have energy. I cherish the moments. I value time with my family. And now I have a deep, deep, deep appreciation for life. I found purpose to move forward. I help women move through mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual suffering caused by child loss. That is when I wrote Life After Child Loss, the Mother's Survival Guide to Cope and Find Hope, Find Joy. Became a grief coach also. Now, not everyone who loses a child would become a grief coach or write a book. You can move through your loss and move into your new norm. That is a great place to be. In the next 40 minutes, I'm going to share with you my 3 most requested tips for coping with anxiety caused by the holidays. Number 1, focus on self-care. Number 2, plan your holiday. And number 3 is to honor your loved one. Regardless of where you are on your loss journey, your first holiday, your umpteenth, or somewhere in between, This presentation will give you practical tools to manage your anxiety. The holiday season is upon us, whether you like it or not. Everywhere you look, signs of happiness and cheer appear. However, the holidays are quite the opposite for you. They bring grief and sadness. We're missing those in our lives, especially our children. Others are bustling to gather friends for family celebrations, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you have a hole in your heart, making it extremely difficult to feel like having any joy. You may want to crawl into bed, pull the covers over your head, or snap at anyone who looks at you wrong, or find yourself crying more than usual. This is all on top of the normal seasonal anxiety from the holidays, including increased demands of the family, expectations to attend gatherings, worrying about money, struggling with time to shop, or figuring out when you will wrap it all. You may question if you got the right present, that they'll like it. You might even be concerned about your family pets. Should they go to the family gathering or be left home alone? My intention is to give you practical tips that you can use today, this holiday season, and future ones. Using these resources, you will experience less anxiety during the holidays. I believe, based on my personal and unique experience surviving holidays and grief and loss, if you have lost a child, my proprietary process, the best way to address those emotions, overcome health challenges, and find joy. Here in the first part of the presentation, what I want to share with you is self-care. During one of my coaching sessions, one of my clients told me she felt guilty about figuring out how to cope with their anxiety with the upcoming holidays. We spent some time talking about why she felt guilty. We dug into it and processed it, and we came up with something that her sister-in-law said to her. Her sister-in-law told her she should be focusing on her other children and not on herself. She felt guilty about taking care of herself. I shared with her this analogy about the oxygen mask. So if you have traveled on an airplane, you've seen a flight attendant demonstrate how to buckle a seatbelt, where to find the emergency exits, and where to locate the flotation devices. They also demonstrate how to use an oxygen mask in the event the cabin loses pressure. You are traveling with children, elderly, or handicapped. You are instructed to put your oxygen mask on first. You are expected to do this so you can help those around you. If you haven't helped yourself and you're on the ground because you don't have oxygen, you can't help anyone else around you. So when Sarah realized that the coping tools that she was learning were like the oxygen mask, she no longer felt guilty for the time she was taking to learn and practice them. She knew that learning coping skills with the holiday anxiety would make her a better mom, bringing less stress and even hope and joy to her family. So what does self-care mean? What does self-care look like? Well, self-care is what you do deliberately for your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So the physical so often is the most ignored, denied, and disregarded. However, it is still an important piece in your anxiety management and should not be overlooked. It's part of the total package, overall health, happiness, and anxiety reduction. As a mother, you are a caregiver, you want to take care of others, and that desire to nurture is inborn. All of you have different levels of that nurture tendency, and it makes you who you are. That nurturing instinct is also what makes your grief so deep and wide. Once a child is placed in your arms, they have your hearts forever. You now have a child to love unconditionally with joy and gladness. Oftentimes, you so much focus on nurturing and teaching your own child that your health takes a back seat. It is easy to get wrapped up in the well being of your child. However, when they are taken from your life, there's a big gaping hole in your heart of who to take care of. Instead of focusing on your child that is no longer with you, you don't know who to focus on. You struggle with how to take care of yourself. You may have forgotten how to do it or even why it's important to do it. Julie is one person that signed up for my 8-week coaching program on Zoom. She said, Peggy, how much water should I be drinking per day? I told her that drinking 1/2 of her body weight in ounces of water is sufficient. As a 150-pound woman, her goal is to drink 75 ounces of water per day. And right now you might be asking, saying, hey, Peggy, why do you recommend to drink 1/2 of our body weight in ounces of water? We're talking about anxiety. So you may not realize it, but drinking enough water, but not drinking enough water can cause your anxiety symptoms to get worse. Dehydration can cause heart palpitations. Can you imagine having heart palpitations and not knowing what's caused them? This can lead to feelings of panic, which may further lead to anxiety and overall about the holidays. I remember how difficult it can be to drink water in the days, weeks, months following your loss. The holidays are no exception. Dehydration is a special danger for bereaved parents because the shock of their loss leaves them stunned, powerless to focus on their own needs, and without energy. You may also experience general lack of energy, lack of motivation, general aches, pains, and headaches. Your body is 80% water, and when you do not replenish what you use, your organs can shut down. You don't want your organs shutting down. You need water to detoxify your body and flush out the toxins that accumulate from stress and anxiety. During stress, which we know losing a child is very stressful, holidays are stressful, you produce extra toxins that stay in your system. The only way to get rid of them is to drink water, and I mean water. Sodas, tea, coffee, alcohol are not it. Water. So the last thing that you want to do is compromise your health in this season of life. So I suggest you calculate how much water you should be drinking to reduce your anxiety and take care of yourself. Remember, my client, I suggested 1/2 of her body weight in ounces of water. So here is another example. If you weigh 120 pounds, divide it by 2, and that equals 60, which means you should be drinking 60 ounces of water per day to stay hydrated, functioning, and helping with your anxiety. Now, I understand this being new to many of you, drinking that much water. I can hear you now. Drinking that much water means you'll be running to the restroom all day. I get it. Try thinking of your organs like a sponge. When a sponge is dry and not used for a long time, you first put water on it and some water runs off. As you continue to add water, the sponge absorbs more and more and more of it. Eventually, it gets to the point where it can absorb no more and you can squeeze the water out of it. Your organs are like the sponge that require water but are not used to it. The more you drink, the more your body will use it. Your organs will thank you. The frequency of making trips to the bathroom will reduce. I promise. Your body will be thanking you and being grateful and adapting to more water. There's one more tip that I want to offer on getting the water you need every day. Make it fun. I've found it especially useful to have a water bottle that I like. It is bright and colorful and keeps the water at the temperature I like. I also know that drinking just 3 of these bottles is the amount of water for me to drink every day. That makes it really easy. So remember that drinking water is a form of self-care that you can start today and can use every day moving forward. Another one of my tips for self-care and anxiety is sleep. I find that it's more difficult than drinking water, though. It's hard to get your sleep. I get it. So, anxiety is a unique symptom of sleep deprivation because of the cyclical effect of one on the other. When you're sleep deprived, your anxiety raises. And when your anxiety raises, you're sleep deprived. I know what it's like to struggle with sleep after child loss. It is one of the biggest things to navigate. You may have nightmares, bad thoughts, feel guilty, or just crying. Brain fog, forgetfulness, impaired judgment are also signs of sleep deprivation, along with weight gain, poor digestion, diminished motor skills. Extra stress from the holidays can increase tension, raise blood pressure, cause even more anxiety. These anxious feelings make it difficult to shut off your brain. So again, you could be asking yourself, I'm going, Peggy, how do I shut off my brain? Great question. This is my answer. I recommend getting into a habit of good sleep hygiene. Turn off your brain, turn off your thoughts. So what is sleep hygiene? Simply put, it is the habit of getting ready to go to bed and sleep. It takes work to improve your sleep. However, the payoff far exceeds the effort. Serotonin, the sleep hormone, increases with the more sleep you get. Getting quality sleep is a major step in helping reduce your anxiety. It is during sleep that your physical body heals and your brain relaxes. So follow these simple steps for sleep hygiene. Number 1, stop using electronics at least 1 hour before going to bed. Cell phones emit blue lights that stimulate your brain rather than allowing it to relax. That blue light goes for other electronic equipment as well. Number 2, remove your cell phone from your bedroom. You have a tendency, if it's in your bedroom, to be on it just before going to sleep on social media. Social media is a black sinkhole that draws you in with negativity and will not let you out. Add this to the fact that you are already in a place of grief and unrest, and it's no wonder you have difficulty sleeping. Number 3, remove the TV from your bedroom. Again, the bedroom is a place for rest and relaxation, and you don't want the negativity that comes from it. So as you're going to sleep, those last thoughts that enter your mind are what are on your subconscious mind throughout the night. You don't want to be feeding your mind negative things as you sleep. And my 4th recommendation for sleep hygiene, remove other electronics, laptop, tablet, etc. And if you were using them as an alarm, buy an old-fashioned alarm clock. Number 5, focus on washing your face and brushing your teeth. When you get into a habit, then your body knows that it's going to be time to go to sleep. So make that a habit. Read a non-electronic book. Get back into paper and holding a book. Stimulate that tactile sense. Journal. Journaling is a great way to write down your thoughts, because sometimes we store thoughts in our brains and then we wind up remembering them, trying to remember them all night, or they haunt us. And if you write them down, then you've eliminated those. And the last one is to complete your affirmations, number 8. I am grateful that I help grieving moms. Just last week, I was working with Carol, who lost a child recently. She was experiencing guilt since her child passed away and told me that she could never, ever release herself of the guilt. However, she was not sleeping and had a lot of anxiety as a result of it. When she first started working with me on affirmations, she was afraid. She was afraid because of the fear of judgment for others. She felt others blamed her for everything. Initially, Carol did not believe that saying affirmations could change her life and get rid of her guilt. We met on a webinar similar to this one called 3 Tips to Move Through Child Loss Grief. I'm so grateful that we did. Carol is now giving herself permission to release her guilt. She does her affirmations, has been able to sleep through the night, and noticed she's not as anxious. She understands that others do not blame her for anything. It was all a story she was making up for herself. Affirmations help with anxiety by creating a shift in your anxiety in your mindset. As you know, addressing your anxiety does not happen overnight. So, mindset is a collection of thought patterns and beliefs that shape your view of reality. It's a story that you tell yourself about your identity and about the world around you. Changing your mindset is most beneficial you can do to deal with your emotions and anxiety. It is also one of the hardest. You've probably heard the saying, mind over matter. It is a phrase that refers to one's ability to use subconscious thoughts over physical limitations. It is also your subconscious thoughts that control your mind. So, bringing this together to control your emotions and physical activity, you can change your subconscious thoughts. So, within those subconscious thoughts are the lies you tell yourself. Do you tell yourself that you do not know how to survive the loss? Can you tell yourself that you do not deserve happiness? You're responsible with your child's passing? You might be saying them to yourself. Someone else may be telling you, or it can be a combination of the two that burns these thoughts in your subconscious mind. It's no wonder you are having difficulty working through your emotions, causing more anxiety when there are untruths guiding every thought and decision you make, whether you know it or not. The more you think the same thoughts over and over and over, the more ingrained they become into your mindset. These thoughts literally form pathways in your brain by connecting neurons over and over and over again. It is like a well-worn path in a field. If you walk the same path over and over, you will wear down the grass in that particular path. The same thing happens in your brain as you reinforce certain neural pathways through repeated process. And that's how those get ingrained into your brain. Now, I must say, your thought patterns are meant to protect you from harm. Your mind is exceptionally good at doing that. It keeps you from pain, even though pain is necessary to move through your grief. Changing your mindset and subconscious thoughts are a bit harder to work through. You must be vulnerable to the pain and willing to walk through it to heal. It takes a little digging to uncover what your subconscious mind is telling you. So, your subconscious mind has immense control over your life experiences, your responses to grief, anger, guilt, sadness, and even the positivity of healing and hope. So, once you have uncovered what is lying beneath the surface, affirmations are a good way to reroute and rewire your thoughts. Instead of believing you will never move through your loss, you can have hope for a future. You can release your guilt because you believe you did everything right. Now, while doing affirmations does change what you believe and ultimately your conscious thoughts and actions, rewiring your brain takes time, effort, and guidance. Affirmations need to be written very specifically because if written incorrectly, they will do more harm than good. I've given you what I have today about self-care. And the second part of the presentation, I'm sharing about planning. It is the anticipation that builds of grief, sadness, and sorrow that makes it so difficult to face the holidays through Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, and anniversaries without your child. It is the anticipation that causes the anxiety. You might be thinking about what you were doing with them the year before, your last and final moments with them, and how much you love and miss them. I understand this is difficult. Here's 6 ideas to help in your planning. 1, recognize the holidays are different without your child. We know that the holidays come around every 365 days, which allows you time to plan in advance what you want to do. Do not, I repeat, do not wait until the last minute to decide. If you decide not to celebrate, that's okay. Once you have made that decision, it is important to share your decision with others. If you decide to celebrate, plan it. Plan it all out. Plan what you want to do for the holiday. Decide on if you're having a meal, how many family members you're having over. You're going to decorate. So some things to consider are, do you want to maintain all the traditions when your child was with you? You want to have entirely new traditions, wiping the slate clean? Or will it be a combination of the two that gives you the most peace? Starting a new tradition in addition to the old has been most successful. For example, if you hang Christmas stockings, you may continue to hang one for your child. Then you may add a candle lighting as something new. Do what feels right for you. Number 3, what are your plans to decorate? Decide how much and when. You can decide. It doesn't have to be the same. Recruit others to help you. Number 4, plan the holiday meal. Are you having it? What does it look like? What is on the menu? Possibly make it a potluck and have others contribute. Number 5, plan what time you start and what time it will end. Tell your guests in advance so that it's no surprise when you ask them to leave. They know what to expect. You've set your boundaries so that you don't overdo it. And number 6, plan. If you decide to shop for presents, keep it super simple. Kiss. Instead of a lot of gifts, make it one per person. Another option is to draw names. Make a list of those you're buying for along with a budget. Stick to that budget. Consider having someone else do your shopping and wrapping. Do not feel obligated to do it if it is not right for you. Regardless of what your plan is, remember to share it with those around you. Having a plan gives you control and can reduce your anxiety. We know that with child loss and the holidays, we feel like we don't have any control. Planning gives you control. So what are your expectations for the holidays? Expectations are around the holidays, what you can and cannot control. If your family get-togethers are typically stressful, chances are they will still be stressful during the holidays. Grieving the loss of a loved one, your holiday traditions can bring up memories that amplify your grief. Manage realistic expectations for the holidays can prevent further disappointment and frustration. You might consider lowering your expectations. Do not expect to have a perfect family gathering. Give yourself some grace. Do not expect yourself to commit to more than you can handle. It's okay to say no. Do not expect yourself to run at Mach speed. Here's a way how to manage your expectations and experience at social gatherings. So give yourself permission to experience anxiety. It will happen. And by giving yourself permission, it's okay. To help reduce the anxiety at a social gathering, plan the time to arrive at the event. You'll also want to plan a time to leave. This way, you know that you have a set amount of time to be present at the event. Consider dedicating a friend or family member as your buddy at the event. If you get overwhelmed, have a signal which you created in advance to indicate that regardless of your predetermined time to leave, it is time to leave and leave now. All this can have a profound impact on your anxiety and overall quality of life. Your anxiety may not be totally eradicated. This is a starting point and can give you places to go and tools. Anxiety is an emotion, after all. There is so much more that we can learn. And unfortunately, I can't cover it all today. So I have what I can give you today about plans. Our third and final part of the presentation is about honoring your loved one. Last Christmas, one of my clients wanted to honor her son. She got the idea of white envelope in the Christmas tree from an article she read. The white envelope was originally started as a gift to a husband from his wife. Instead of giving a gift to him because he didn't like the Christmas hoopla, she anonymously donated a gift to an organization in need. In the envelope, she left a note telling her husband, who his gift had gone to, and she put the envelope in the Christmas tree. JoJo decided that she would donate to the Dumb Friends League in honor of her son. On the outside of the envelope, she wrote her other children's names. She neatly tucked a note inside telling them where the gift in honor of their brother had gone. They all decided this was the best gift to remember their brother by. It's something he would have liked. So honoring your child is one of my favorite ways to reduce holiday anxiety. It helps to know your child is not forgotten. As a mother, losing a child is horrible. However, in the aftermath, the fear of their memory fading is almost as bad. You want to be able to produce feel-good endorphins and reduce your tension and anxiety. And having plans and remembering your child helps with those. This is also the opportunity to involve other family members, bring them together. So I have a list, a short list, and there's many things that could go on it, but how we can talk about honoring your child. I will mention them quickly, and then we're going to dive deeper into two. So one, collect stories about your child, handwritten ones, ones that people email to you, or ones that they tell you and then you transcribe them and then put them in a book, whether it be a scrapbook or little notes. That's a good way because you can get that from friends and family. And they know you want to talk about your child. And you can express your gratitude for their memories. Number two, have a moment of silence. This helps to bring up good memories. Have that. Number three, create a new tradition. We've talked a little bit about a new tradition. It can be whatever you want. And number four, volunteer at a charity your child would like or approve of or had been involved in that will honor them. Number five, donate a holiday meal to a family in need. We often hear that we don't want other people's problems. We'd rather have our own because theirs are much worse. And when we give to others, that also increases our endorphins in doing it in honor of our child. You may want to visit your child's gravesite. That's number six. Or light a candle. That's a new tradition. Number eight, prepare your loved one's favorite dish or meal and let everyone enjoy in it. Number nine is to set an empty seat at the table. We'll be talking a little bit more about that. And number 10 is start a foundation in your child's name. So for those of you lost a loved one, thinking about the empty chair at the holiday table may intensify grief in all its complex manifestations: sadness, anger, resentment, anxiety, guilt about the loss, and yes, sweet joy, sweetness, gratitude that the person was in your life. These are conflicting emotions, but they can exist. So setting an empty seat at the table is a great way to honor your child. It is a place setting much like you have for your other guests. However, no one sits at it and it remains unused. Place a picture of your missing loved one directly above the plate. In the water glass, the empty water glass, place a special ornament. The ornament could be one your child liked, one that was theirs, one that reminds you of them, one that's customized. It's really a great place to put an ornament. It's also a nice touch to have a printed copy of the empty chair poem. Have someone read it aloud. It goes like this. The empty chair. Time cannot heal the emptiness or fill the empty chair. The one that's in the family room, I see it empty there. Or the chair that's at the table where together we would dine. Although I sit there, the only hands that pray are mine. Still, I give thanks to God each day. I pray this prayer comes true. You save an empty chair for me when I come home to you. You can set an empty seat for your child this holiday. Having them remembered and close to you in spirit will help reduce your anxiety and help those others around you. So, talking about forming a foundation and organization in honor of your child. If you want to make a big difference in the world in a big way and you have the money to do it, you might consider starting a private foundation. Private foundations are a special type of nonprofit that gives money away on charitable purposes. You could do it to create a legacy. Name the foundation after your child as a way to honor them. So before you establish a foundation, consider the people or groups that would benefit from your support. Would it be an organization that your child would have been involved with? Research and learn their needs and see how you can help. Now, I must say a foundation, starting one, is not something to take lightly. You will need to know how to fund it, who will be on the board of directors, and how to drive its mission. Now, if that's too much, consider getting involved in a foundation that already exists. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MAD, is such a foundation. Whatever you decide, focusing on the needs of others in honor of your child is a fantastic way to boost your spirits. Those endorphins then helps with anxiety. So, as difficult as it seems, you will survive the holidays in one piece. Because of your grief, this holiday might prove to be an exceedingly difficult experience. However, you will get through it and come out on the other side stronger than before. That said, it's also fine to have a good time in spite of your grief. And happiness, if it slips through your window of grief, allow it to happen and enjoy it. You will not be doing your loved one an injustice by feeling joy. The best gift you can give to ones that you love, is that of being true to yourself and living your life to the fullest, even as you adjust to the loss and remember your loved one. One of the most common questions that people ask me is, Peggy, is there a way we can get the same results individually that you offer from your webinars? Yes, as a matter of fact, yes. I offer a brief grief breakthrough session to see if this is a fit for you. So just yesterday, when I was on a grief breakthrough session, a mother felt so lost and lonely. She had no idea where to turn for help or that there was even help available. She signed up for my 8-week coaching program. She is excited to have the tools to deal with her anxiety, be prepared for her tears, her emotions, and know how to handle them. And she wants to be fully present, not partially present for her family. I can honestly say I'm not sure if I am the right grief coach for you. I do know that each one of you deserve the chance to find out. Register for a 50-minute grief breakthrough session. Text the word breakthrough to 719-789-6808 to receive the link to schedule our time. That word is breakthrough. I'll spell it. BREAKTHROUGH. And that number again is 719-789-6808. In our 50 minutes, you can tell your story. I really want to hear it. Oh, listen, I will ask you some questions so that I understand you. We'll talk about what's going on. You can ask me questions. I want to let you know, I understand. I've lost 2 children. I started helping mothers in their child loss grief when I went through my first loss because I had to figure it out on my own. I had to figure out how to heal. My husband didn't understand. He was not there for me. I felt alone. I was on the journey by myself, and I know what it's like to have your world turned upside down. I bear witness to your loss. We are in the Child Loss Club together. I am your resource. Now, you know that I'm a grief coach. I think each one of you should work with someone, get support so that you desperately want it, so that you can get what you need. What is important is that you move forward. Before you decide, there's 3 criteria I recommend you use to help with you determining who you will work with. Number 1, consider, does the person you want to work have practical experience with child loss? Yes, I'm the one. I've been through it. Number two, does this person have the passion to be working as a grief coach? I believe lost travelers deserve to have support and guidance to learn with their grief and find joy. And number three, have they personally used the tools and techniques they offer? The tools I share with you are 100% responsible for me being here and able to offer you support. I know deep down the resources I created for myself and use in my coaching practice will work for you. There's a number of people that will put it off, they'll try it on their own. They'll find a year later they come back to me saying they wish they would have done it earlier because they're still in their grief and they're still having difficulty. I will leave you with this. After my second child's passing, I started posting on Facebook. I was vulnerable in sharing my heartache, confusion, and despair. However, having the mindset that I am strong and courageous, my posts were not just grief. They also included my methods and tips on how I was dealing with my loss. There were so many people who responded to my posts. They shared with me they were benefiting by what I was commenting and posting on. Some of them talked about their child loss, others parent loss. Others included the difficult times they were experiencing, such as divorce, changes in job, and anxiety. It was here that I knew I was on to something. I am blessed to have developed the resources to move through my grief. I was introduced to the author incubator who helped me write a book and develop my grief coaching program. This was huge in helping me heal. Having a coach to help support me. Sometimes we all get stuck in our grief and it takes a coach or a mentor to move us along. I can be that coach for you. I can be the one to bear witness to your loss and get you to where you thought you would never be again. Thank you for joining me.